Breaking news right now, it's official. The House of Representatives has voted to reopen the government. The House of Representatives will now send this bill to the desk of Donald Trump after Democrats in the United States Senate caved and joined Republicans to reopen the government. They only needed a simple majority in the House of Representatives, and they had it before, and they had it now as well. Enough votes to reopen the federal government. I do want to talk about next steps, though, because Mike Johnson and Republicans now face a whole host of issues over the future of healthcare in America, the Epstein files, and dissent within his own party. Now that the House has voted to reopen the government, Donald Trump will sign the legislation at some point this evening. What that will do is it will automatically give back pay to federal workers who are furloughed or who are forced to work without pay, like air traffic controllers. It'll ensure that SNAP is fully funded immediately, pretty much. It'll take a few days, but almost immediately. It will ensure as well that critical agencies across the government get back up and running. For example, reporting accurate statistics about job losses or job gains, things like that. So this will all start coming together pretty quickly. Air travel will also become more streamlined. Now, that may take a little longer because Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, said that it won't happen immediately. Just because the government opens doesn't mean it'll immediately alleviate the struggles that air traffic controllers have had over the past several weeks. But we now are entering a situation where the government is going to be reopened tonight. Mike Johnson is now dealing with a fractured Republican Party and a country that needs answers to critical questions like, will the House of Representatives vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies? Remember, there is a promised vote in the Senate. There is not a promised vote in the House. And even the promised vote in the Senate, well, there's no guarantee of it passing. Just in the past 24 hours, when senators voted on it the first time as an amendment to the government reopening, Republicans shot it down. But Mike Johnson was asked about whether or not he promises to essentially have a vote on the Affordable Care Act subsidies. I want to show you what he said right now.
A lot of ideas that we'd like to bring back to the table because that will actually solve the problem and not just subsidize insurance companies.
So you're not committing to bringing up a bill that deals with the Obamacare subsidies before they expire?
I'm not committing to it or not committing to it. What I'm saying is that we do a deliberative process. That's the way this always works, and we have to have time to do that, and we will in a bipartisan fashion.
If something passes the Senate, it would only pass on a bipartisan basis. Yeah. Would you bring it up?
Well, the bill that's going to pass
to extend the subsidies, that later vote.
I can't commit to anything that hasn't even passed through the Senate yet. I mean, I've never done that. I'm very consistent. I've been Speaker for over 2 years, and one of the reasons I've held the gavel is because I don't go out and predetermine outcomes. It's a member-driven institution, as it should be, and I'm really insistent about that. We got to get back to regular order.
So Mike Johnson is not committing to a full vote of the House of Representatives on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies, even if the Senate, which would have to be a bipartisan vote, as Jake Tapper noted, passed an extension to the ACA subsidies. They need 60 votes in the Senate. They need a simple majority in the House. But Mike Johnson says he's not going to give it to them just yet. He's not going to at least commit to giving it to them just yet. But he is also going to face another critical issue, and that is the Epstein files. Adelita Grijalva has been sworn in, 218 signatures on the Epstein files discharge petition, which means that Mike Johnson will have to essentially swear or essentially hold a vote on the future of the Epstein files, to force a vote on the Epstein files. But he's calling that a moot point. I want you to check this out.
Session. So, I mean, before we have this vote that we're talking about, she'll be administered the oath.
That's after the House gavels in, but before the vote.
Right. Yeah, sure. As soon as we get started, yeah.
And then she has said that she is going to be the 218th vote to force the discharge petition, to release the Epstein files, et cether, et cetera.
She has the right. I mean, that's immaterial to us. It's now a moot point, by the way. The Oversight Committee has been delving in deeply to the Epstein investigation, and they've released 43,000 pages of the Epstein files, more to come. Subpoenas are being complied with. By the way, the latest batch was the Epstein estate files that is not even considered in the discharge petition, was never mentioned. But that was a treasure trove of information, and they released his personal logs, his flight logs, his financial records, and even his daily calendar. So there's plenty of oversight. All of that information is going to be released to the public. The only thing they're redacting, Jake, is the names of the innocent victims.
Well, we know that that's not true. We know that's not true. It's not a moot point because the Department of Justice has over 100,000 Epstein related files in its database that it has yet to release publicly. Those 100,000 pages include Donald Trump's name, include the president's name. And so it is not a moot point. And this is an issue that Mike Johnson has been refusing to bring a vote on. The only reason why we've had to have even the discussion of a discharge petition was because Mike Johnson won't bring up a vote on the full Epstein files via regular order. And so you now have a situation where he may have up to 50 or 60 Republicans, according to Ro Khanna, vote with Democrats to release the Epstein files, which would be a significant rebuke of not just Mike Johnson, but also of the White House. And while he's also facing significant kind of rebuke internally right now, there is some intra-party fighting, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is leading the way. She is causing Mike Johnson lots of headaches internally, and I want you to take a look right now.
I feel like our majority is being ruined. I really do.
By what exactly?
Inaction. I voted to fund the government on September 18th. And then guess what? We haven't been to work since.
But whose fault is that?
Mike Johnson's.
Why?
He's told us not to come back. He's keeping the House out of session. All the American people are working every single day.
Chuck Schumer. You don't think it's related to the shutdown?
Chuck Schumer's in the Senate, everybody. Yeah. Mike Johnson is in the House. He's the Speaker of the House. And he can bring us into a session where we can be.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene with Megyn Kelly before the shutdown, before he brought them back in. For perspective, Mike Johnson brought essentially, they were out of session from September 19th all the way to the present day. That is a period of over 40 days that Mike Johnson kept Republicans out of session. And people were furious. People were furious that Mike Johnson was doing this, especially given the fact that the government was closed. Government was completely closed. And so they were furious. But I do want to mention what Republicans thought about reopening the government. And I think it's an interesting situation here. So Julie Grace Brufke was essentially Republicans didn't want to come back to work. They were saying, quote, it was a bunch of self-entitled divas basically asking the speaker to personally book their flights, oversee airport staffing levels. No one wants to cancel VD, referring to Veterans Day events, but get over it and get to Washington to do our job. They didn't want to come back to work. They didn't want to come back to work. And so there's fracturing within the Republican Party. There's fracturing publicly right now. Mike Johnson is going to face a hell of a time in the next several weeks and months, whether it's about healthcare, the future of the Affordable Care Act, or whether it's about Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files. And the calls are coming from within. The calls are coming from within the Republican Party. So I will continue to provide you updates as we get more information. Obviously, it'll take some time. So spread the word, like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work. And I will have another update for you very soon. Stay tuned and see you soon.